So this is kind of, well, I wouldn't say the last toe, but after all the chiropractor stuff and being well aligned and the injuries are still happening, I decided that obviously a biokineticist is probably the only way to go. So I'm here to see Tony. Tony knows all about this. Solid guy.
Hi Ben.
So this is Tony Paladin from Paladin Biokinectics. That is here in Rivonia, Johannesburg, where the Cliff Central studio is. So it's very close to me, literally a couple of streets up, and this is where I'm going to sort myself out. Tony's of course a more than skilled biokineticist. He's also an ex-rower. He's a sporting man through and through. And here he is hearing my long and very sad story about how, well, I keep getting injured. I have a bad hamstring, I have bad hip flexors, I've tried this, I've tried that. Tony at this stage is being quite polite. I really am just crapping on. I mean, as you can tell by my previous videos, there's always a long story with me and injuries. Tony's asking me all the relevant questions and basically trying to get a feel for what could be wrong with me. So, into some very sexy yet oversized shorts. It is now into the assessment stage. And here I'm basically telling him my one leg is longer than the other, which it is. My left leg's longer. Where Tony then works for some basic range of movement, just to kind of see where I am, what is sore, why something is sore, what my limitations are, and basically how I move. So here, taking consideration my dodgy pelvis and my one leg longer than the other thing, I'm just trying to trying to give him an idea of what's limiting me. So here I am trying to do a setup with my very weak core. And from here, well, it's into some movements. So some basic exercises, and from there Tony can get a better understanding of kind of, again I keep saying it, what's wrong with me. He makes it look so easy. Initial exercises not going too well. It's then onto the bed to find out what my hamstrings are like, just kind of strength wise. So it's about putting some resistance against it and seeing how strong I am and how much I can resist the force that Tony is applying. Right now, not much. There really isn't much there. So I've had hamstring issues, they're just not strong enough. It's as simple as that. So no matter what Tony's doing here, I am, well, it's just painful. I mean, he can literally do this with one hand. He's being nice here by using two, but there's nothing really going on here. So with this kind of worked out, it's onto the treadmill. And now, look at the hips. Now, to go slow-mo here, you'll see that my right hip kind of has a bit more swagger than it needs to. It's sort of, I feel I'm pulling my right hip through. So if you watch my right hand, it goes further than my left. And this is the whole lateral rotation that's going on here, which then makes things a lot worse further down. See the right hand there? It's going further. The left's kind of like quite chilled. And if you see when I go into running motion, it's obviously exaggerated. So yeah, the hip alignment's not great. Anyway, enough about the technical talk from me, because I'm probably butchering all of this rather badly. Let's hear from Tony to find out what's really wrong with me.
So I don't want to say necessarily throw the blanket term at the face and say your abs and your glutes aren't strong enough, but your abs and your glutes aren't strong enough. It's all relative, really. So what I'm noticing is when you do certain movements like sitting up and hip lifting, you're not engaging into your abdominals as well as you could be. So typically what happens is your hip flexors and your hamstrings tend to do a little bit too much of the work. And this is consistent throughout a couple of movements. If your glutes and your abdominals do more of the work, it offloads the hammies and the hip flexors. Now in your case, you've got the above, but you've also got a slight rotational discrepancy. So more notably, your left glute is not as strong as your right glute, but now the glutes are strong enough. So if we were to want them to be 8 out of 10, your right's probably arbitrarily a 5 out of 10, and the left's like, let's say, 3.5 out of 10. So we, in terms of stability, strength is too low, but also there is an imbalance insofar as the left leg, or the left glute is not as strong as the right side. So typically what you find is happening is that because you're not stabilizing through those areas, you're getting an overload, and the overload is into your left hamstring and into your right hip flexor. So in terms of what we want to do to fix, yes, we want to give each side of the body their relative respect, but I don't necessarily think we need to overly fixate on overcorrecting one side over the other. So I think where the big focus needs to lie with respect to exercise prescription, we need to run you through a couple of exercises that are really going to address global abdominal and global glute strength and take that into a functional manner. So by a functional manner, I mean squatting, jumping, sprinting, so on and so forth. So long story short, you just need to be stronger than you effectively need to be in order to do your activities with less pain.
Okay, so Tony just put me through my paces, of which I didn't have much pace or strength or anything, but at least I know where I'm going wrong. Tony, why should people see biokineticists if there is something wrong with them, say a sports injury, or like me, they've got massive inefficiencies? Imbalances?
Pretty much, one should see a biokineticist ready to get educated on the correction of movement. So any person can pick up a Men's Health and basically take a schedule of exercises and go and do them, and they'll get some effect from them. But if the exercise is not being done effectively, insofar as the correct muscles are not being used, you're not educated in how to be engaging through the exercise, you'll find that doing the exercise is not going to be as efficient or as effective as it could be. So working with a biokineticist and being taught how specifically to engage, how to execute the movements, really makes your ultimate outcome with respect to doing exercise a whole bunch more effective. So our primary role is not so much to give you special or specific exercises. There's no such thing as special and specific exercises. It's more about the efficacy of doing movement correctly. So if the biggest knowledge share that we can impart is if we can teach you what's going on in your body, if we can teach you how to correctly engage the muscles so that you are more effective in your movement, the exercise you can pick up, I can direct you to the latest copy of Men's Health, and you can do those exercises, and those exercises are going to be as beneficial. So I often think there's a big misconception out there that a biokineticist is there just to give exercises and to give special exercises. It's more really just to educate you and to teach you how to do the exercises.
Cool. All right, so now I have education. Now I just need hard work, and maybe I can start running again and be a sprinter, which this challenge maybe is showing that I'm not.
Cool.
Wow, that was fascinating. I wish I'd gone to Tony from the beginning. So the whole thing about the challenge was I was trying to do it by myself and go through the different stages and get stronger and get fitter. But I feel like I've just wasted so much time not learning what I learned today. So if you are doing a similar challenge, you do want to do something that's kind of a little bit above where you are physically, seeing a biokineticist is a really, really good idea. You get to understand the muscles, you get to understand the movements, and ultimately you see where your imbalances are. I've got weak glutes and weak abs. Kind of knew it. Today it really hit home. So October the 12th, this is where we are right now. Let's just say mid-November is going to be the new finish point. I've got a month to exercise what I learned today, get a sports massage, do those kind of things, and hopefully I can still do this. I can still break this 12-second for the 100 barrier. I feel like I can do it. I think with Tony on my side, I reckon I can do a hell of a lot of stuff. That guy's incredible. Wealth of knowledge. Today was great. Today was a good day. Today was a positive day. And a lot more positive than the last 2 times. Next time you see a video like this, I will be running.